our show.
Oh, boy.
Hal Sparks from Nerd Halen is here.
Oh, yes. Which, by the way, we're performing in Vegas at Counts Vamped on the 21st, a week from Thursday. Very exciting. Nerd Halen Live.
Yay!
Yeah, here in Vegas. It's going to be very exciting.
Okay.
So, in celebration.
Yeah, I was saying, it's just this Politico piece is entitled, If Tucker Runs in 2024, Here's Who Democrats Need. And then they put Jon Stewart forward. First of all, Hal, are you as annoyed as I am? Can we focus on 2022? Thank you. The entire Meet the Press was about Democrats disgruntled with Biden and who should run in 24. And is he too? I'm like, oh,
well, that's because that's the active message you need to diminish the vote going into the midterms. When you are actively trying to get Democrats not to show up, that's the conversation that you want to have. Not the accomplishments, not the pressing needs ahead of us, and certainly not what the Supreme Court has done and will continue to do if anybody else takes the White House besides Democrats, especially in the next election. And the midterms, one of the big clamorings is the deals or the situation that Biden finds himself between the Mitch McConnell judge in Eastern Kentucky to get 60 other judges on lifetime appointments. That balancing act, which is an incredible trade that he managed to make. The clamoring about that is simply just to wet down the vote coming in the fall, as if any of the people who are running have any impact on anything other than giving Biden the strength and ability to not have to make those deals in the first place. If you'll recall, that deal started when they were starting to put the brakes on the judicial nominees because they saw how fast Biden was doing it and how diverse his judiciary is. They wanted to stop it. And he realized he had to make this deal because every story you saw, what was the story we saw for the last 2.5 months? Democrats are going to get shellacked in the fall and the base is not showing up and all that stuff. So those are the deals you have to make when the base starts clamoring about those kind of things, even though deficit in half, the unemployment cut in half, the infrastructure bill passed, first gun legislation passed, like wages are up by 5.1%, and the American people are not suffering at the level that the rest of the world is in the same impact.
And by the way, the polling shows Democratic enthusiasm now has outpaced Republicans, as I was saying in many key. And by the way, somebody said we should stop saying 2 Senate seats. No, there are 8. There are 8 that are completely gettable. Right? And let's go for the blue tsunami.
I agree.
Yeah. And again, you're right, Hal, about judges. When we're in the midst, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but a raging pandemic that is ongoing because of variants and subvariants and not enough people vaccinated, and one Trump judge that lifted the mask mandate for everybody in the country on planes, which was absurd, And
the part that drives me crazy about the story, quite frankly, about judges and that the Democratic base is finally waking up and is going to show up this fall is that they should have known this even up till this point, because Donald Trump we've seen votes like this start to come out of the Supreme Court even last year. And so, of course, we got to recognize that these people are on a bullet train to eliminating people's rights. That's why they were put there. Yeah. And Trump himself said in 2016, women should be punished for having an abortion. Yeah. And then he set these people out to do it. If you're not inspired to keep more people like that off the SCOTUS, then I got to say you're probably for it.
And by
that's
the way,
creepier.
We should be happy you're right about Donald Trump. He is the worst thing that has not just happened to this country, but to the Republican Party.
Right.
I mean, behind closed doors, he's like, oh, this Roe thing's going to be bad for Republicans. It's like,
right. Even he knows it. Right.
Yeah. Nicely done.
Well, because he doesn't care, really.
If you like more of these judges, vote Republican or don't show up. An Alabama judge has been suspended after an ethics commission accused him of mocking an Asian juror, referring to a 77-year-old governor as Meemaw, telling defendants they should be sexually assaulted in prison, and repeatedly cursing in the courtroom, which I like. Just threw that in at the end, but okay. James Patterson, a Republican who was elected in 2016. Because, in 2019, he asked a jury pool that included an Asian American if everyone spoke English.
Oh my God.
Mocking her Asian accent. The liberals call everyone they disagree with a racist nowadays. He said, I'm nothing of the kind.
Yeah.
He also once told defendants they should be butt raped in the penitentiary.
He sounds nice.
Did he use the term butt rape?
Well, apparently.
Oh God.
That's according to the complaint.
I need you to explain to me, Steph, why I should be inspired
Right.
Right.
to keep people like that out of positions of power. I don't feel, you know what I mean? Like it's one thing to be against something, but I need to know what you're for. I mean, I know there's a platform and it's full of things you're for, and you've been fighting for those things for a long time. But what have you done for me lately besides cut the
Hal
deficit
Sparks
in half?
engaging in the snark.
The
purveyor of the snark.
Oh, no. I'm out with the vote shaming hammer this time around, hoping that regret is a learning opportunity for people who let Trump in because they're like, but her emails, I don't like her voice. I'm not sure about blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
But again,
Al, I keep saying, I for the first time in my life, because of COVID, and I freaking left my house and blah, blah, blah. I went on a dating app for the first time in my life. Anyway, I got catfished.
I know. Yeah. Of course you did.
But what I'm saying is, there's no shame in just admitting the Russian plan was to have just enough Bernie voters in the 3 swing states that Paul Manafort shared polling data on, just enough of them to stay home, vote for Jill Stein or vote for Trump, and that it's in the numbers. It's not like I'm making some scurrilous allegation about people. Right. It's just we've all gotten
true. Right.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of them will fall back on that lesser of two evils argument, and as we always say, one of my favorite Sparksisms: if you are ever presented with a choice where you believe it is the choice between the lesser of two evils, choose less evil.
There you go. Listen to me very carefully.
Put the candle back.
Listen to me very carefully. Put the candle back.
Actor Sacha Baron Cohen has defeated an appeal brought by former Alabama Judge Roy Moore, who claimed that Cohen defamed him in a program where he accused Moore of being a pedophile.
That's just accurate.
Well, also, he signed a release, which we know about in Hollywood.
Right.
Cohen described a fictional pedophile detector which started beeping near Moore, which A, is funny, and B, he signed
gross,
he signed
and frightening and horrifying, and he's awful. Yeah. And he's got a record, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Exactly.
Like, that's one of those things they hang around your neck the rest of your life. It's a good reason not to act on those impulses,
right?
People.
Yes.
That besides the fact that it's awful, but just to save yourself the social embarrassment. Maybe that'll help. Maybe your ego will save you from being a total creep.
By the way, I feel like the Stephanie Miller Show T-shirt, "I'm not going to buy your stupid book," was made for a lot of people, but Kellyanne Conway is at the top of the list. Aren't they all just like trying to make themselves look better and settling scores?
Yeah.
She obviously hated Jared. So she once again has ramped up her attacks on Jared Kushner by saying Trump should not work with him, Kushner, again, if he pursues the White House for a second time. She's obviously angling to be campaign manager again. She made Kushner a frequent target of hers while promoting her stupid book that I'm not buying.
Right.
Conway accused Kushner of trying to wash his hands for responsibility of Trump's 2020 defeat while using his relationship with the ex-president to draw in money for his business endeavors. I also recommend the Big Bag of Rats T-shirt. Fight, fight, fight. You're all equally awful. So she's right about some things about him, but she is also equally awful.
Right.
She said there's nobody that has profited more handsomely from Donald Trump's presidency than Jared Kushner, which that's also true. You're all horrible, awful grifters.
Well, there's nothing more Trump than that. I mean, honestly, how do you even MAGA bro? That's exactly the Trump system. Is make all the money off of it you can while being completely disingenuous to the cause or idea itself.
You said something earlier though about them only turning when they realize. How do they not realize they've been grifted yet? Yeah. Trump supporters. How are there still Trump supporters? Like, what is it you think will help them go, oh, he's a cheap con man? Is there something?
Three level things. One of them is there's a group of what would be far right evangelical types that forgive everything, including the grifting, including the crass behavior and his actual sexual assaults in the past, the alleged and yada yada. They can forgive those things because he got Kavanaugh and Barrett and Gorsuch on the court, and he was a missile for God, and it doesn't matter what else he did. Collateral damage is not important to the great mission of anti-abortion factor. The other ones, though, part of admitting he's terrible is admitting that you fell for it. And a lot of cults are propped up over time by the ego and the social pressure of people where they have to admit in public that they were suckers.
Yeah.
And
that someone
more
else
than
said
anything,
that. People don't want to think they were wrong. They just
Right.
don't want to be wrong. So they
would rather be
fall for
right
the big
than
lie
happy.
because they're like, oh no, I can't be in the minority, right?
Yeah. And you cling to it because or you try to find a way that you were right all along, even if you were wrong. And there's so few opportunities for that. In real cults, there's always a God over the horizon that you can put your attention on and go, even though the man was flawed, my belief in the greater story is still important to me. But Trump is an actual dude, and there is no there. There never was. I mean, their God is always 2 weeks away. You know what I mean?
Right.
His magic health plan is all that stuff, and it's never coming, and they know it.
Well, you
now,
know why it's late? Because JFK Jr. is late.
Right.
He was bringing it, and
Look, it's not
he's
his
always
fault.
late. Yeah.
It's not Trump's fault, okay?
Yeah.
Piper Cubs are notoriously, they need a lot of gassing.
Yeah.
They got to get gassed up.
Part of the deep state. They're part of the deep state. Yes.
Right, that's what it is.
Okay, Tucker in Minnesota. Help me. Mommy needs help. This is not working again.
Here we go.
Okay.
There it goes.
Hello, Tuck. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say, the thing that drives me crazy is we hear everybody, even like Cassidy Hutchinson, where they kind of insinuate that Trump did good things. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of, I don't know if it was sounds like a Mel Brooks joke to me, but, hey, Hitler made the trains run on time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's always
Trump
been... That's been a fallback for a long time. That's not even a joke. That's, the Mel Brooks joke, of course, is his interview with Jiminy Glick, where Jiminy goes after him for knocking the Nazis all the time. And he says, why you got to knock the Nazis? And they're like, I don't know. Because they're rude. And then Jiminy goes, I guess. The reality is that they really do believe those aspects of it. They had a Republican lawmaker, somebody running for office doing one of the Hitler did some things right conversation.
Yeah.
And that you're going to hear more of that over time as they try to rehab their own belief system around him as well. That's not going to take off. Nobody's going to be able to do that. But with Trump, they do feel like that's a softer, image for them to have to, to soften even more, I suppose. And so they're gonna argue that he did things like biggest tax cut ever. You'll hear him say that, which is materially false, not true, never was, not a reality. But he keeps saying it.
With gas prices, I'm sorry, gas prices were down during Trump. So
nobody was going anywhere
because we were all in a pandemic.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go back to that where we had to wipe our ass with coffee filters. Okay.
Well, because you had to wear the toilet paper as a mask when you went out to the grocery store.
Right.
Yeah.
Wrapped like a mummy because nobody had, duct taping tampons to our faces using them as masks because nobody knew what a mask was in the early days.
Yeah. Oh,
in my day.
Those first 2 months were awful.
Oh,
my
God.
God.